Six Nations 2024 Round 2 Team of the Week. We're going to go through 15 players who stood out at the weekend. And as always, you guys can let us know your thoughts. We're going to start with some front rowers. And a guy who conceded a bunch of penalties last week. Only the one this week, Andrew Porter. I think he was 5 last week against France. Much cut down penalty count against the Italians. Dominant scrum. Really, really impressive. It's kind of the one area that he was looking at Ireland after a convincing first round of performance to step up. And I think Andrew Porter was a big part of that. So yeah, scrummages really well. Penalty count much lower. 4 from 5 tackles, 7 carries, 4 passes. Plays halfback at one point, missed it everywhere, but mostly good scrum, good discipline. Happy days from old Andrew Porter. And I'm going to put his front row partner in Finlay Bealham in alongside him. Coming in for injured Tadhg Furlong. And scrummaged also pretty well. The Italian scrum gave away a few penalties. You have to give Finlay Bealham a bit of credit with that. He didn't concede any on his end, which is always a pleasing stat for a prop. Makes 5 of his 6 tackles. Has 7 carries. Makes a pass. Good guy to have step up in Big Tadhg's absence, and I think he acquitted himself pretty well. And the front row of Ireland is complete with Dan Sheehan. You'd be hard pressed not to pick Dan in your team of the week, I reckon. I think he'll be pretty much a lock-in with everybody who picks the team of the week. 2 tries. 1 from a maul, 1 from some space out wide. He gets an assist as well. He carries 10 times. He cracks through 30 metres. He manages a clean break, which I'm assuming is the try. 3 passes. The line-out operates at 100%. The only kind of thing he'll look back on is the fact that he didn't bag a hat-trick. I mean, he charged down Varney early on in the game, which was, great bit of work rate, great bit of commitment. But then Varney probably got bit of revenge by somehow stopping the big man from scoring his 3rd try. So it's just the 2 tries for Dan Sheehan. No hat trick. He'll be disappointed he let a halfback stop him. 7 from 9 tackles. He was in cracking form. So it is an all Irish front row, but we are going to break the Irish theme by picking an English guy in the second row, Maro Itoje. Defensive powerhouse that he was doing Maro Itoje things. Big at line-out time, wins 4 line-outs for his team. Big on defense, 13 from 13 tackles. Absolutely swarms. Was it Yohan Lloyd? When England were down to 13 men to win his team the ball. Absolutely crucial moment, which leads to the scrum, which Ben Earl scores from. So cracking bit of defensive play. Again, real commitment. 5 carries from him, 3 passes, wins a turnover. Really, really busy defensive shift from Maro Itoje. When he's at his best, that is the kind of thing he is doing. And then I'm going to put a guy who missed out on a starting spot against the French, but was promoted back into the starting lineup in James Ryan. Industrious shift from him. He won, I don't remember how many lineouts it was, but it was the lion's share of ball on the Irish throw when he was on, including the maul try. Which Dan Sheehan scored. He's the one who secures that line-out ball. They mainly sent up Baird on defensive line-out ball, but when they wanted their own ball, often they sent up James Ryan, and he was very secure in that area. The Irish line-out has taken a big step up this year, I think you would have to say. 8 runs for 12 metres. He'd like to get the meterage up, but certainly the work rate is high. He beats a defender. He has a pass. He does concede 1 penalty where he gives away a neck roll one, but hitting rucks, he's often there. When you see the Irish kind of quick recycle ruck ball, who's there clearing out or just standing over that ball so that the other team can't counter ruck? James Ryan. Really, really busy shift from him back in the starting lineup. So largely Irish type 5. Loose forwards, I'm going to go with a Frenchman. And old Francois Cros, he was very, very busy on defence. 18 tackles from 20. When you consider the next best French player had 13, is a hell of a shift, and he doesn't concede any penalties on the way. He wins a turnover which later results in the Fickou try. He has a big carry from the back of the scrum, which leads to the BLBRA try. So not really known for his go-forward ball, more of an absolute tackling machine. He finishes with 8 runs for 22 metres and beats a defender, which, as I said, for something that's not really his specialty, when you think the big ball-carrying French back rowers, you think probably Aldrit first, maybe Olivon second, but man, it was Cross this week who was doing phenomenally well. Yeah, I thought he was on absolute fire. So Francois Cross, very good shift for the French. Open side flanker, I would go with, I think it's 2 weeks running, Tommy Reffel. Tommy Turnover, going to call him that pretty much every time because he keeps winning turnovers. Only 2 this week. It was 3 last week in their opening game against the Scots. 2 this week against England. And he's also an absolute tackling machine. I love the guys who get through the tackle counts. It's not as sexy as maybe getting clean breaks and tries, but 14 from 15 tackles. And again, for context, the next best Welshman, 9. So well and above the next best player on his team. He has 8 carries, 15 metres, has a clean break, beats 3 defenders, offloads, which pops up the ball to Thomas Williams, who gives it to Alex Mann, who scores the try, which wasn't the penalty try, it was the other try. So the try that Wales scored kind of in open running play, that was set up by a Tommy Reffel offload, doesn't concede any penalties. Probably one of the candidates for the player of the week. He was just really, really good. He's having a fantastic Six Nations. Really, really pleased for him. And last one in the back row, I'm going to go with Ben Earl, partly for that bit of individual brilliance. He has no rights when the English scrum is depowered. They got some guys in the bin, 13 men. You got Tommy Freeman packing down on the scrum. Scrum is secure, and then Ben Earl hops off the back, powers through, what was it, 3 or 4 Welsh defenders to burst over for a try. So 10 runs, 34 metres, beats 4 defenders. I would say 2 or 3 of them in that run for the try line. 8 from 10 tackles, 9 passes, huge involvements, doesn't concede any penalties, which is always a nice kind of bonus. But yeah, there you go, Ben Earl, and that rounds out your forward pack. I will get to some honourable mentions at the end. Into the backs, I am going to go with one of the Scots in Ben White. He was pretty industrious himself. Really high work rate play from him. 72 passes is really high. Really kind of quick recycle ball. And his kicking game, I thought, caused the French backfield problems at times. He ends up finishing the only Scottish try of the match, which is a great little support line, which, if memory serves, went back to his kick that kind of started things, which the French didn't take cleanly in backfield. 5 carries, 20 metres, 10 from 13 tackles. Yeah, pretty good effort from him. They would have liked more tries ultimately at the end of the day, but yeah, really high intensity from Ben White, which is pleasing. And then also pleasing, because it was a bit of a question mark going into the Six Nations, but it's pleasing how good Jack Crowley's looked. Absolutely comfortable. Doesn't look out of place at all. Looks very, very comfortable at test level, which is phenomenal. Scores a try, which is always pleasing when you see a guy, who's relatively kind of inexperienced, but get that ball down to give him that bit of extra confidence. And he just ran the show really well. He carried well. He passed well. He passed 36 times, which is incredible. And he ran it 18. That's a hell of a lot of involvements. I know they had a lot of ball, but that is a big effort from the guy who played mostly at 10, but then he was shifted around at fullback when other guys came on. He has a clean break. He beats 4 defenders, 3 from 3 tackles, 3 offloads. The only thing that was a little bit suspect was his goal kicking. A couple of those strikes didn't look the best. In a closer game, obviously, those kicks will be important, but ultimately, man, did he look comfortable, and that is a really encouraging sign for Irish rugby going forward, because the Sexton absence question has been one that's, as it's just been that, it's been a bit of a question, but nah, he's looking the business right now. The Irish theme continues, and this guy is a bit of a personal favourite. Stuart McCloskey doesn't maybe get as much game time as he might if he played with a country with a little bit less midfield depth. Bundy Aki, Gary Ringrose, Robbie Henshaw, there's a lot of good midfielders in Irish rugby, but McCloskey got a start and he set up 2 tries, and his ability to keep the ball alive, I think, was also a kind of key part in the Irish, pressure, which the Italians kind of struggled to deal with. Any team would struggle to deal with at times. He's got the one wide ball to Sheehan, which is a great try, and then another wide ball for James Lowe. So some slick hands on the ball. He passed it like 17 times. For a 12, that's a lot. That's, I think, more than Garbisi passed it for Italy. And, the 10 usually has more passes than the 12. But, as I say, Ireland did have a lot of possession. He keeps the ball alive really well for the Nash try towards the end. 3 offloads, 7 from 10 tackles. He would like that to be a little bit higher. But a clean break, a defender beaten, 19 carries. Really, really busy. And, yeah, just really great ball handling. So, a proper handful at number 12. The other midfielder I've gone with is one of the Frenchmen. And Gael Fickou, he gets man of the match in his game, and I think pretty deservedly so. He gets a try out wide for the French, which was one of their better kind of attacking plays in a game which was maybe more ruled by the defensive players. 50 metres from 5 carries is a bloody good return, including that clean break, which will be the try. 3 defenders beaten. 8 from 9 tackles. He organises the French defence really well. 4 passes and an offload. Always getting involved. Did concede a couple of penalties, but... yeah, ultimately, I'm not sure if France win that one without Fickou's input. And into the glory, boys, the outside backs. James Lowe, I think also 2 weeks in a row. That rhymes and that wasn't planned. He ends up getting a try and really showed some of his attacking capabilities in this game. Like, I think last week against France, he had 14 metres, but his boot was unbelievable. I'm not just a fan of guys who get the clean breaks and the run meters. Sometimes the boot can be equally important. I love his boot, but he got the numbers this week as well. 116 run meters, 4 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten, plus the try, plus 13 passes, plus a bunch of kicks, 6 from 6 tackles. He only has the 1 turnover conceded, 3 offloads. Like, he's got everything to love about his game, and he gets man of the match. Yeah, really, really kind of great performance from James Lowe. Really, really pleased for him. And his wing partner, Kelvin Nash. The injury to Mac Hansen, it's opened an opportunity, opened a door for Kelvin Nash, and he's looking pretty comfortable, man. He scores a try, so that's 2 tries in 2 weeks for him. Not getting talked up that much, but I think he's just quietly doing really well. 10 runs for 48 metres is not James Lowe's numbers. Right wingers often don't get as much ball as the old lefties. I'd have to do some stats on that one day, but that's what my gut tells me. But he has a clean break. He beats 4 defenders beaten. He gets 4 defenders beaten. He's got 4 passes. He makes both of his tackles with 2 from 2. He's getting in there on the mauls. Yeah, trying to get his involvements up. So, yeah, Kelvin Nash, 2 weeks in a row, he's looked pretty solid. And then I think it's 2 weeks in a row for this guy on my whiteboard, old Freddie Steward. One of the more attacking-minded options in that English game against Wales, which was another one where it was like often the defensive players that were, having a better time. Over 107 metres. Often fullbacks get some pretty decent numbers, but it's a lot more than he had the week before. 4 defenders beaten in his effort as well, plus a clean break. Trips himself up early on in the game, which is, I feel like, kind of quintessential Freddie Steward, because he's great in a straight line, he's great up in the air, but like the footwork thing's not really his baby. And he tried some footwork. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him, but it didn't work out this time. But he's a big guy. If he runs straight, he's going to run over people. 12 carries is really busy shift. Only the 1 pass, so he loves a carry. 2 from 3 tackles. Does have a couple of turnovers conceded, but ultimately I think handled the high balls pretty well, which is one of the main reasons you pick him. So there you go, folks. That's the 15. A few honourable mentions. I'll try to keep them pretty quick, otherwise we'll be here all day. Jamie George tackled well for England, was certainly defensively one of the sharper players this week. Jenkins for Wales. Geez, he hits a lot of rucks and is just ultimately very, very busy around the park. Maybe didn't get the same kind of tackling numbers he had last week, but really, really busy. It's what you want to see from your captain. Zuliani, I got no Italians on the board, but I think Zuliani might have been the only guy to top 20 tackles this week. I think he was 20 from 20 when he finally gets a chance to start at number 7 with Lamarelle moving to 8. Busy defensive shift. They needed to make a lot of tackles, and he made a bunch. Baird, his line-out disruption against the Italians was also very, very good. Got a nice clean break. But yeah, really, they sent him up to disrupt so much the Italian line-out ball, and he did really well. Rory Darge, I picked him in my top 5 video. If you haven't seen that, check it out. We had Tim Stimpson on as well, former England and British and Irish line, talking a whole lot about goal kicking. Also talked about visualising kicking Clive Woodward as your goal kicking technique. So that was pretty funny. I found. So if you haven't checked that out, check it there. But it's just unfortunate. Darge and Reffell kind of both outstanding, both in the same position. He topped the Scottish carry numbers, topped their tackle numbers, 1 turnover. Yeah, really, really good knock from him as well. Alex Mitchell, I thought, was probably the other standout 9 of the week. If you were going to pick another 9 other than Ben White, I think you'd probably go with Mitchell. BLBRA, bit of individual brilliance, helped get the French over the line when they really needed it. Patterson at the back for the Scots, late addition to the squad. Thought he did really well. He was caught out by the BLBRA kick over the top, but ultimately, for a guy late call up to make his debut, was pretty outstanding. Had a hand in the Ben White try as well. So yeah, folks, that's your team of the week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, got a link to buy me a beer down in the description. Feel free to check that out. Otherwise, check out my other channel, 2 Cents on Tour, wandering around doing non-rugby stuff in China of all places. But yes, you guys let us know your thoughts on the team, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.